Welcome to the presentation on hip wrapping and taping. This is done for hip flexor strains and groin pulls, which are also adductor strains. So hip injuries include hip flexor strains, which are in the area of the blue arrow here, and also groin pulls or adductor strains. And they can be anywhere along and through here. They can also come further down into the adductor muscles and be anywhere in that area. You can also have both occur at the same time, and both can be wrapped or taped for support and protection so that they can play. Now, the position is similar to what we did with the knee. You want the person weight bearing, and you want the leg you're going to tape ahead of the other leg. You also want to put that 1 to 2 inch lift under the heel of the leg you're going to tape so that you have some weight on it and you have the muscles contracted. So I'm going to cover the hip wrapping first and the taping second. Just like the knee, this is the same process. We just use different materials for both. And again, the figure 8 is the technique. Now the only difference here is that we're going to have one loop of our figure 8 around the leg and one loop of our figure 8 around the body. But we still want that X crossing the area of pain or discomfort, the area that we want to support. So we're going to start with the tensor at the side of the body on the hip bone, and we're going to wrap downward and inward, going around the inside of the thigh. Now this is really important. With this wrap, it is really important that we wrap the leg in this direction. And that is because it pulls the leg into a more stabilized position. If we were to wrap the other way, we're pulling the leg into a position that is easier for it to get injured. So with wrapping the hip, you have to wrap downwards and inwards first. That's most important. So once we've gone down into the inner thigh, we're going to wrap around the back of the thigh. And now we're going to cross, and we're going to go all the way to the outside of the other hip. It's going to come around the back and meet where we started here. And then again, you're just going to continue that same pattern of down and in, around the back of the thigh, and up and cross the body. You continue to do this entire process until you've finished your figure 8 and you've run out of tensor bandage. Okay? And again, you're going to use some regular white tape to affix that to the body. Now you might notice with this tensor that it's wider. Generally these are done with a 6-inch wide tensor, and there are tensors that are called double length tensors. So they're longer, and those work really well for this because you need to wrap such a big area of the body. Now for wrapping it was the tensor. For taping it, we're going to use the exact same pattern. We're just using elastic tape. So it's the exact same process. We start up at the hip, we go down to the inner thigh, around the back of the thigh, up and cross to the opposite hip, around the back and back to the hip. We continue that process, no ripping, just continual wrapping. We're going to do 2 to 3 wraps all the way around. Then again, you're going to secure the end with a couple pieces of white tape so that it's secure and the elastic tape isn't going to come undone. Generally, we will wrap with someone who has a severe injury, we would wrap with both the tensor bandage and the elastic tape over top. They're going to feel almost like they're wearing a really tight partial diaper, and that's exactly the feeling that you want them to have because it's going to protect this front area of the hip really well. So again, the direction of this figure 8 is very important. The hip is strongest when it's pulled in towards the front of the body. So make sure that you're always going downwards and inward, because going down and outwards is moving the hip into a position that can cause further injury. So I'm going to walk you through the process now as someone does this tape job live. So again, you can see them in that starting position. Okay, we have the tensor bandage. Okay, this is that 6-inch inch wide tensor, down and in, around the back of the leg, and around the back of the body. Down and in, around the back of the leg, around the back of the body. Okay, you can see that the X of the figure 8 is right on the front of the leg. Okay, so this is protecting the hip flexor or the groin. Okay, you continue doing this until you run out of tensor bandage. Okay, and once you're done, just tape that, fold it in place. Now we're going to do the elastic tape right over top. Okay, same process. Take half your stretch out, down and in, around the back of the leg, around the back of the body. Down and in, around the back of the leg, around the back of the body. It's quite common that we would do this on top of bike shorts or spandex shorts of some sort. When you're done, use your white tape, a couple of nice long strips to hold that elastic in place. So, if the tape job is getting too tight, this person is going to feel like they get a cramp anywhere in the leg. But it's fairly rare that this tape job is actually too tight. People will often tell you it feels really tight, it feels really restricting, but these muscles that we're wrapping are incredibly strong. So the odds of it actually being too tight are fairly slim. You can again play with how many strips you do in each direction and the strength you do. Okay, so this could be pulled really tight for someone who has an awful lot of pain, a little bit looser for somebody who's coming back from injury and it doesn't need quite as much protection. Again, this is a tensor bandage and elastic tape, and so you need to ensure that this is removed when activity is done. They're going to need to do some stretching, possibly some icing, but both of these materials still have elastic in them, and so if you leave them on, you can create some big problems with circulation. So again, don't sleep with the tape on and remove it after activity is complete. Next, we're going to move up to the upper body and cover finger taping and thumb taping. For more information on healthy living or to see my other courses, please check out thehealingpath.com.